Hello loves, welcome back to my channel where we talk about life, feelings, decisions, and the laws of attraction. So this is one of my first, if not my first, depending if I post my last video. So this may be the very first time that you're seeing me on this channel. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name's actually Tori, but I've been going by Love or Losin on this channel, just because I've been doing more like spiritual readings, and I've actually been going through something that I think we all can relate to, where we are parting ways with somebody in our life that is still on this earth, which is I don't know. I would say it's a special kind of torture. You know, like, these are the moments where people remind you, like, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And I definitely believe that. I obviously believe that a lot more when I'm not sad. But I actually felt like, I don't know, we don't really learn a lot about dealing with our feelings, or how to like sit with them, or even really what to do with them. And I'm not necessarily saying that I'm an expert or anything, but I don't know, I've kind of been learning how to do that in a way that just feels a little bit better than it used to. And I kind of had a feeling that it might benefit somebody, or maybe just me talking about this will speak to some of you. I may end up actually braiding my hair too, like that's kind of what I was planning on doing. So I was originally planning on just doing a regular voice audio like I normally do, but so we'll see if that ends up being like super distracting while I'm talking. So I think there's a lot of reasons why we end up saying goodbye to somebody who's still here on this earth. And I think there's a lot of times where it feels like the right decision and we can feel really okay with it. But I would imagine that it would be pretty rare to find an instance where you don't feel sad even just for a bit of time. And sometimes it's not even necessarily always grieving the relationship if it was really unhappy, but sometimes it's just like grieving the future of what could have been, that you imagine them being there for, and thinking about all of the events that you thought they were going to be there for, that now you have to experience without them. Or just like, it seems like all of the little things really seem to remind you of them. I don't know if it's like because you're more aware now, so you've always thought of them with those things, or if all of a sudden your brain's really just looking for the reasons to remember them. Because isn't that what they say, is like grief is not the absence of love, but love enduring? Wow, that just like, that hits so different when you're grieving somebody. Yeah, I think a lot of the like breakups that I've had in my life have been like just generally amicable, but I'm like moving on to better things, or like really actually a very good thing for me to end those relationships, which are still just as hard. But this is definitely one of the ones that I'm really grieving something that was really beautiful. And in some ways that makes it kind of easier, in some ways that kind of makes it harder, especially because I know more of who I am now. And so it just kind of feels like kind of feels like their fingerprints are all over my life. In all of the little things, you know, like I love stopping to smell like pretty much every flower that I see. Not that I have to smell every single one, just every type of flower that I come across, or every patch of flowers, really. I want to smell one, and this person would do that with me, which I always really appreciated, because I feel like those are the important things in life, right? It's like the lived experience of mindfulness. And there's something really tender about there's something really tender about sharing those like little beautiful moments with somebody. So even just stopping to smell the flowers. Gosh, I wasn't expecting to already be crying in this video. That's okay. Yeah, it makes sense that I'm sad right now. There's a lot of things that I miss about this person. And honestly, one of the things that I miss most is the way that they held me when I cried. I was like so new to having that experience. I wasn't really somebody who really honestly cried very much at all, but definitely not in front of people, even if it made sense. Like even if I was at a funeral and I wanted to cry, it's like the tears wouldn't spill over, like it was some weird, you know, like there's some kind of dam in my eyes that kept the water at bay. That something about being in my healing journey, I don't know if anybody else has been going through this, but all of a sudden it's like it doesn't take very much to make me cry. Which I think is a great sign that I'm moving in the right direction, that I'm more in touch with myself and my feelings. So this was the first time I really can remember in my life. I mean, maybe I was held a bit as a kid, you know, when I was really young. But I had a lot of years that I cried myself to sleep that people really don't know about. And wow, does it like, it hits so different when someone holds you and they cry. And the beautiful thing about this person is that they actually find a lot of beauty in a lot of the emotions that I think we all try to shy away from. They really actually seem to like kind of dive headfirst into them, and just, they always kind of talk about them with reverence. Like it's something sacred to be held. And so when they would hold me, maybe I should have brought some tissues in here. When they would hold me when I would cry, they would tell me that they loved holding me when I cried, and they loved my sadness, and they also loved my happiness. That they loved me when I was anxious and when I was brave and all of the things, you know. And it was just something about this person. I'm sure it's because they leaned so heavily into these emotions that we run away from. That, I mean, he could just like look at me and say, "You're having a hard time, aren't you?" And I would, you know, start to tear up or start to cry, and I'd say, "Yeah," and he'd say, "Oh, you poor thing." And I would always say, "Yeah, I am a poor thing." Okay. Those are the things that I just really wasn't expecting. Those are not things that I've grieved before. in a relationship. I haven't grieved just somebody really knowing you and knowing you in all of your states, and holding you in some of the most raw of your states, and not just loving you in spite of it, but loving you because, and he would always remind me, if I ever said anything otherwise, he would always remind me, no, he loves me because I'm sad, because I'm happy, because I cry, because I laugh, because I'm cute when I say I am a poor thing. I am gonna check every once in a while. Hopefully it's not a huge distraction. I'm gonna check every once in a while on how much time there is, because I try not to make too long of videos, but I don't know. It feels like it's kind of come in waves too. I think some of it's because we did go no contact for a while and try to be friends again, which honestly, I don't really know if there's a world you can like genuinely stay friends with your ex if you have really been truly like connected on a deep level. Maybe you can, and maybe there is hope for that someday, but right now, no. Like this soon after, I mean, technically we still broke up several months ago. Anyway, I wasn't here to actually tell the story. I was just gonna kind of talk about my experience, and I think I like kind of adopted his perspective on feelings like sadness and grief. I actually didn't realize like how often I would experience grief on a small scale, but when I would talk to him, he would say like, oh, that sounds like grief. And the first time I wasn't quite sure, but you know, each time he would say it, I would kind of try it on, and it would feel right. So I guess I'm pretty new in terms of basically a child, in terms of a newbie, in terms of like processing and understanding grief. But anyway, this feeling kind of feels different than sadness or even really like depression. I've experienced a lot of depression in my life, and that just honestly feels like a wet blanket where everything, even the volume, feels muted and heavy, and it feels very one-noted. I mean, it's been a little while since I've been depressed, so I could be wrong, but from what I remember, it's pretty one-noted. I found grief to be such a colorful experience. Especially because you're like holding a lot of like depression. I haven't really been like holding a lot of like positive feelings in that, whereas grief, like, I mean, there's still love there, and love is such a like a warm, sweet, delicious feeling, and sometimes can even feel like so exciting, you know, just because it like fills you with so much of like a gentle energy. And when you're thinking about the good times, I think like as it's gotten a little easier, granted we're on another on another ebb here, or a flow. Which one is it? Probably the flow, right? I don't even know if there's a difference, right? But now that I'm going back to being no contact with this person, it's kind of a new wave of grief again. So I do know that it gets easier after this. So I mean, of course, at first it's like when you think of anything that has to do with them, you know, it's like the silly things too, where like you're not even trying to do it, but like you still look for their car, or you still like when you check your phone, there's still some part of you, even if it's a small part, that still hopes that they've like texted or called. So like early on, I feel like remembering, like reminiscing, is not really a pastime of mine, right? But I do know, like as it gets easier, like then there's like that joy and happiness or gratitude. I think even in grief, I still experience a lot of gratitude. But it's just so, what's the word? Like dimensional, dynamic. Like it's, I don't know. It does kind of feel like, especially right now, it does kind of feel like, I wrote something like, I can feel like the empty spaces in my heart where he took the furniture. Because it does kind of feel like that. Or like when you lost a tooth as a kid, you kind of keep poking it with your tongue. Because it just feels so different, and it's so noticeable that something was there before and it's not. And I do feel like definitely a whole person without this person, but like connections and love bring so much into your life. It just feels like it turns up the volume on everything, and that includes the heavy things too, so there's definitely a quietness to it. And I mean, even sometimes when I'm not feeling sad, because I'm not feeling sad all of the time. Like, even when I'm feeling like love or gratitude for this person, like, I still reach for my phone to text them because that's still somehow a habit, even though I really haven't done it for, weeks now. It's kind of like, where does this love go when I don't have anywhere to put it? And I'm hearing like, oh, and it just like already makes me cringe. Like I'm hearing, well, just, give it back to yourself. But it doesn't always work that way, okay? That's a part of grieving. That's kind of the other frustrating thing about grief is like, not a lot of people sit with you in it. I think because people don't really know how to deal with it. It was interesting to watch this with a friend of mine. Well, it's actually the husband of a friend of mine. But when my friend passed a few years ago, during COVID, I spent some time like with her husband, just because I guess I didn't live too far, and I kind of felt this like prompting, I'm sure from like a higher power, to spend some time with him. And I mean, I just sent messages saying like, if you ever need anybody. And he would end up texting me when like the panic attacks or sadness would really set in. And it's just like so interesting to see how people act around you when you're grieving. They like don't really know what to do with it. And honestly, like, I just want somebody to like sit with me in it so I don't feel fully alone, and also just kind of makes it easier. I guess that's kind of why I'm doing this. This is probably why I felt this like encouragement to do this, is because it is just easier when you're sharing that experience with somebody. And as I've like gone through these waves of sadness, because he was the person I would like so often turn to for comfort. And I'm sure you can imagine with this person already from what I've shared, of course, like he was so sweet and gentle and tender that like it just kind of makes like the hard stuff harder sometimes, especially on those days like when I'm like having flashbacks or nightmares that I wake up from. Like he's always the first person that I would go to, because Like, he really knew how to be there in those things and not rush you. Like, this video is not here for, dude, people don't need advice. Honestly, 99% of the time, people don't need advice, and even if they need it, they're not going to take it. So people don't need that. What people need is just to be, like, witnessed, to be, like, held in their experience. And I don't know. I mean, I'm doing a pretty good job of holding myself in the experience. It's just sometimes I don't want to have to hold myself through it, you know? I mean, I even remember, I had a lot of flashbacks this last winter, and obviously he was there for pretty much all of them, because he's just a supportive, caring person and wanted to be there. So there was, oh my gosh, it's already been 20 minutes. Whoever's still here, I appreciate you so much for spending time with me while I process this. There was, like, definitely quite a few weeks there where I was pretty depressed. And not the whole time did I really struggle getting out of bed. I mean, it was still hard, but I mean, maybe like once a week or so, I would have a day where I really just, it's like I had to spend the day in bed. Depression is exhausting. It makes everything exhausting. And I really should have brought some tissues in here. I wonder if I have any. Actually, I think I have some right here. Sorry, Sal. No, just bugging you. Okay, pals. I'm back. How are we doing? Still good? Okay. What was I saying? Oh, so usually on those days, not that he would be there for a lot of it, like he had his own things going on in life, right? But a lot of the times, I mean, he would still invite me to go for walks with my dog. And it never bothered him that I was, he was always steady. It never bothered him, whatever state I was in. So I always felt like I could show up exactly how I am, which is kind of a rare thing. I pretty much lived by, if I'm not like in the top 25% of my feelings, then I shouldn't be around people. So he'd always end up, you know, asking me to go for a walk, and sometimes I'd be sad because I'd want like a little bit more comfort from him or whatever, but I mean, I don't blame him. He doesn't have to be there for all of that stuff, right? There's only so much that we can, you know, help carry the burden of, what's that called? A yoke. But at some point in that day, it was pretty likely that he was going to come in and hold me. A lot of times he'd bring a bowl of food. Sometimes really not even saying very much, just crawling in behind me. Crawling in behind me, and pulling me into his chest, just like this. Just sit like this. And he would feed me. Which, I don't know how many of you have been fed as an adult. By somebody who loves you, I highly encourage it. It's like weirdly healing for such a, like a little act of, I guess service is probably what you'd call it. Hopefully my shorts are keeping me decent. He would just feed me little bites and tell me, I mean, I think he knew that I would struggle to eat those days. So he would tell me I was doing a good job just eating. He'd always tell me that he loved getting to feed me. God dang it. also what's so hard about grieving relationships is, like, you're not just grieving the person, but you're also grieving the relationship, like the love. Like, every love is so different, you know? It's like loving tulips and Christmas lights, you know? They're beautiful in their own ways. So I'm like I'm already aware that it was a very special and rare love that I had from this person. And I think what makes it extra hard is, like, I am aware that I know I'm gonna have more beautiful love in my life, but I know I won't have that beautiful love, that specific flavor of it. Oh my gosh. And it's hard to not, like, feel yourself reaching out for them. Not that you necessarily always are, but just like energetically, like your heart is reaching out for them because they're so familiar. I mean, hopefully it's the good kind of familiar, not just like you being accustomed to the chaos. Like, there's not a lot of places in my life that I felt truly, truly safe. I've definitely felt like a good portion of it, but, and maybe it's because I went to get a tissue tip and use it. Maybe it's because I'm like healing enough that I can more fully feel like safety. But I don't know. I don't want to discount it. Like, I do think it really is because they are such a safe person, and maybe not in the ways that you're initially thinking of. Like, every feeling was okay. He would always say, all of you is welcome here. And as long as I wasn't being destructive, right? Like, that's not okay. Like, you can have your feelings, but you can't be destructive. You still have to keep a little bit of space in there for love to make sure that you're acting right, you know? But in all of my feelings, well, when things were still aligned and we were still connected, all of my feelings were not just welcomed, but were like eagerly met. So there's all of these feelings that I've experienced on my own. Sadness and depression and grief, anxiety, anger, like, I don't even know where I was going with that. I guess I was just thinking of how incredible it was that I learned such wonderful things from this person. Oh, I was talking about the safety. Yeah, like, yeah, it's a different kind of safety when you feel emotionally safe with somebody. And for some of you out there, you're probably not watching this video if you don't resonate with this. But, like, for those of you who, do not have a familiarity with emotional safety, where you're allowed to show up angry, anxious, sad, frustrated, all of the things, especially in regards to that person too. If you're not familiar with that, it definitely hits different. So it's that kind of familiarity that I'm really missing, because I didn't realize like what that really was like, especially on that level where somebody's like seeing you in some of your darkest stuff. I'm sure a lot of people who have been more emotionally available. I was not very emotionally available for a long time. So I'm sure some of you're probably not watching this video then, because you're not going to resonate with a lot of this stuff. Or maybe you are, I have no idea. Dude, we're already at 30 minutes. Doesn't matter. You can stop watching at any time. You are obviously not obligated to be here. Because I do have a lot more I want to say. I mean, maybe I'll end up cutting it into more videos. We'll see. But, yeah, clearly there's a lot to explore when it comes to grief. I don't know. At some point, I know that I'm gonna be excited about things that have nothing to do with them, which, I mean, I do, you know. But I'm still also in a place where I'm still sad sometimes that they're not there for things. Or that I really want to send something to them, especially if it's a Lord of the Rings meme or, you know, even just listening to this piano playlist, which you shouldn't be able to hear because I'm trying not to get in trouble for posting music. Even just listening to this piano music. Yeah, I'm so in my feels. I had way more things that I was planning on sharing today. But I guess that wasn't really the point, right? Like, the point of why I wanted to do this was, I mean, for me to be able to process, but also, like, I don't know, I'm trying to find a way to, like, bring that feeling more into my life and into this world that he brought in for me. Like, it's not just like emotional safety, but like this expansiveness of there's plenty of space for you here to feel what you're feeling, and I'm not here to judge it, I'm not here to change it, I'm not here to try to reassure you. That's the crazy thing, is like people want to swoop in and solve something, right? You're frustrated, you had a bad day at work, and they're like, you know, they're already trying to help you problem solve it to come up with a solution. Sometimes you just need to feel, well, not even sometimes, I think every time you need even 30 seconds to feel the feeling first. And I think in cases like this, with like grief, or they're meant to be, it not meant to be, right? But I think just the way that happens naturally, they're going to be prolonged feelings. And they need to come out. If you just tuck it away for later, it just it's like, you know, trying to keep water in a pair of jeans. I mean, it's gonna stay in there for a little bit, right? But they're not designed to hold water. So, I mean, it's gonna be seeping out. That it's gonna seep out in other ways, and the more that you push it off, the bigger it gets, and the longer the process takes, right? If there's some kind of quote, I need to cry for a week in order to feel better. Well, if I keep pushing off that week, or only do it, 2 minutes at a time, granted, there's grace in that, okay? It's okay if you can only do it 2 minutes at a time. I think that's why it helps to process with people, because it helps you kind of process a little bit longer than you probably would have otherwise. But, like, I mean, I have so many things that I wanted to share, but I actually don't know if that's really appropriate here, right? Like, I think my motivation is to really create a space where it feels expansive for me and for you to show up exactly how you are. And there's no rush. There's no rushing here. There's all of the time and space to feel everything that you are feeling. All of your feelings are welcome here. I cherish all of your feelings. And if you're feeling any of them right now, I'm really grateful for you sharing those feelings with me, because that's such a special experience to know somebody in those feelings. It's kind of like, you know how you like graduate high school and all of a sudden your entire world is expanded outside of like, you know, basically your neighborhood that you've been living in. And there's so much more. There's bills, there's eating pizza for breakfast, there's whatever it is that adulthood looks like to you. So your world expands. Your inner world expands because then you're getting to know yourself more, right? It's that same way with, I guess this is what emotional availability is, right? Like, it's the same way with feelings. It's the same way with feelings. So you get to know yourself more and you also get to know other people more in such a beautiful and rich and fulfilling way. Which, granted, if you're feeling some feelings right now and want to sit with them, I'm definitely talking a lot for that. And making it about what the experience is like for me. You know, I guess that's kind of all we're doing. Sometimes I think those things are important though, right? Like an interruption or, you know, like your brain just kind of jumps to something else for a little bit. I think it's because we need to take those breaks. We need to take those breaks. We need to like come up for air sometimes, especially when you're in that heavy stuff. You can only hold your breath so long when your head gets dumped under, so you have to come up for air sometimes. I don't know. You know, it's been a little bit since I've thought about this, but one of the things I miss most are his hugs. The amount of times I have thought, granted it's been a little while, but the amount of times that I've thought, I wish I could just have one more hug. Just the way that he would like hold my head and make sure that it's comfortable, and if he felt like I was too far away, he would push me further into his neck. And he knows that I have neck pain, so he would always at some point in the hug end up moving my head over into his other shoulder. And the way I would just kind of like melt into that hug, and either he would acknowledge it or have some kind of sound that like acknowledged it, that he appreciated that I felt safe enough to relax into him, you know? Something about grief really seems to just kind of slow the world down for a little while. Like so much, it kind of feels like it stops moving. Or I guess maybe it's that you stop moving. You know how like when you're having fun, time flies when you're having fun, or whatever they say. It's like grief. Not that I think that's necessarily the inverse, but kind of like it really slows things down. It kind of forces you to sit with it for a while. And it's one of those things that you're never, I don't know, maybe I would eventually be more comfortable in. Maybe it depends on the kind of grief that you're experiencing, but because it's raw, I don't feel like you're ever like really comfortable in the feeling. So you just kind of have to sit there and let it happen. And there's a lot of times where I don't want to, and I think that's okay. I know that's okay. It's okay for you to show up exactly how you are. And it's gonna take time. And sometimes you just need a rest. I think about that a lot. The way that we would process emotions together. He would often remind me I could put this down or take a break at any time. yeah, I think we need a lot of grace when we're grieving, because there's going to be a lot of times that we need to put it down for a bit. So that way we can rest and breathe and resurface and remember that we're human. And there's a lot of taking care of ourselves. I mean, I'm sure by now my tea's cold. I did this last night too. I made myself some tea. Yep, just some cold tea. I made some tea and made myself some noodles, like some soup. I think all of those things that we can do that can, I mean, make us feel human and make us feel cared for, right, is like what we need right now. And all of the slowness that we need. Because there's no rush here. There's no rush. All of my feelings are welcome here. I love you when you're sad. And I love you when you're happy. I love you when you cry. And I love you when you laugh. I love you when you're mad and when you're anxious. And I love being able to hold you when you cry. What a beautiful thing. You're so beautiful when you cry. Yeah, that was a big breath, huh? Yeah. I know you're feeling worried about the time. You're worried that the video is too long and that you need to wrap it up. Let's see, we're at 42 minutes, guys. Maybe I'll end up cutting it into 2 videos. We'll see. We don't need to worry about that right now. We don't need to worry about anything. All we need to do is just be. Right now, it is okay to be sad. You've been having a hard time, haven't you? If you're still here in this video, you've probably been having a hard time, haven't you? You poor thing. I'm so sorry. That's a lot for one person to carry. Your poor arms, they must be so tired from carrying that for so long. Yeah, sometimes you just need a break, don't ya? Well, you can always take a break with me. I really want to post some videos of some feel-good things too. Just some easygoing stuff. Maybe if you want to help me. I want to finish my picture wall. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I have some, I need to get some frames, and I have, this doesn't even fit in this frame. I need to get a bigger picture. I think I want to print some pictures. I want to finish coloring that picture. I have a drawing that I want to finish and hang up there. So I'd like to have a video like that if you'd like to do that with me sometime. I think that would be nice. And then that would be a really good feel-good video to watch after we have all these heavy feelings. Yeah, I'm feeling like it might be a good time for us to wrap up, and that doesn't mean that we're done forever. So if you're feeling a little bit panicked about that, if you've been processing this feeling with me, if you're feeling a little bit panicked about us wrapping up, that doesn't mean that we're done, and that doesn't mean that we're going away. I'm still here. I'm going to be with you through this for quite some time. And there's all of the time in the world. And there's no rush. And anytime you need me, you can just come back here. You can just come back here. And just pull on my sleeve here to get my attention. And I'll turn towards you. I'll take a look at you and I'll see your slumped shoulders and the sadness in your eyes. I'll say, oh, honey, you've been having a hard time, haven't you? And you'll nod your head. And I'll wipe your tears that escape. And I'll say, oh, you poor thing. And that's when you say, yeah, I am a poor thing. I love you so much. I love you so much. And I'm so grateful that you were here with me today. And I'm so glad for all the things that you shared with me. And I'm so glad that you feel safe to be in this space with me. I know it's very vulnerable and raw to work through these things. I'm sure it brought up a lot of stuff for you. Those are all things that I want to hear about. Because I care a lot. I care a lot about you. I care a whole lot about your feelings. And I know I talked for a long time. And I know that there's still a lot of tears to be shed. But I want you to remember that I'm always going to be here for those tears. You're not alone anymore. I am here for you now. And I'm sure there's lots of other people that are going to be a part of my soul family here that are going to want to be here for you too. That are going to hold you when you cry and wipe your tears and give you tissues. I just have so much love and gratitude for me, for that relationship, and that special soul that I had such a beautiful love with. And for you, I love you very much. I appreciate you, and I'm very proud of you for doing your best today and every day, but especially in these moments. Especially in these moments when the feelings feel a little bit too big for your body. I feel especially proud in those moments because you are being so brave. You're being so brave, holding those feelings and holding yourself in them. And I hope you feel proud of yourself too. You should feel proud of yourself because you're doing a great job. You're doing your best. Now, if you need anything, I'm right here. You can just do a little comment or message or however you can contact me on here. Just let me know that you need me and I'll be there. Okay? So So we're gonna put it down for now, okay? Is there anything else that you'd like to share with me before I go? Yeah, do you want to take a deep breath with me? Yeah. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in with me. And breathe out. Now, if you're having a hard time putting anything down right now, it kind of helps me to imagine it's a younger version of me holding this heavy bowling ball. And I'm just going to talk to her and tell her that she doesn't need to hold that right now. And just because we're putting it down doesn't mean that we're not going to come back. And that it's very important for me to be able to be there for her. And that also means I need to take breaks too to be able to be there for her. So that's something that helps me. So if you're having a hard time putting these things down, I definitely encourage that. I'm going to send you off with some love and a big hug. If you don't want the hug, that's okay. But I'm sending one that you can reject, just in case you do want one. And I'm going to part with you here. I love you, and I will talk to you very soon.